Amanda's eyes fluttered open, her vision blurry and disjointed. The sterile scent of the hospital filled her senses as fluorescent lights above flickered softly. Her head throbbed with a dull ache and confusion flooded her mind. She tried to move but a heavy weariness kept her still. Panic set in as she struggled to recall where she was, or even who she was. Suddenly, a figure came into focus by her bedside. A man with soft brown hair and deep blue eyes that seemed filled with relief. "Amanda, you're awake," he exclaimed, his voice tinged with both joy and anxiety. She stared back, her expression blank, feeling like she was seeing a stranger. I don't remember," she stammered, her voice barely audible. The man's face fell, a mixture of shock and pain visible in his eyes. The doctor, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, stepped in, gently explaining the situation. "Amanda, you were in a serious car accident. You've suffered from partial memory loss. The past 2 years are likely blurred, but your memories may return gradually." 2 years? Amanda's mind reeled. It felt like time had been stolen from her, leaving a void she couldn't fill. As she tried to piece together fragments of memories, the man by her side reached for her hand. His touch was gentle but it felt foreign, unfamiliar. "I'm Ryan," he said, his voice soft. "We are engaged." Amanda looked down at the engagement ring on her finger, its gleam almost mocking. She could see the love in Ryan's eyes, but it was love she couldn't recognize or reciprocate. Ryan's attempts to comfort her felt overwhelming. His gaze, filled with expectation and hope, only added to her confusion. Despite his warm demeanor, Amanda's heart remained distant, a void that his words couldn't fill. The chapter closes with Amanda closing her eyes, feeling a mix of exhaustion, confusion, and an emptiness that makes her wonder if she'll ever be able to recover who she used to be, or the love she's supposed to feel for this man beside her. Back in the apartment, Amanda felt an overwhelming sense of displacement. The photos, trinkets, and shared memories on the walls were like pieces of a puzzle she couldn't put together. Every object Ryan showed her, an old mug, a book they once read together, seemed to hold an unspoken demand for recognition, a pressure that Amanda found suffocating. Ryan's voice was gentle as he guided her through their home, but Amanda sensed the urgency behind it. "Do you remember this one?" he asked, holding up a framed picture of them on a beach trip. His eyes searched hers desperately, as if he could will her memories back to life. Amanda tried to force a smile. "I wish I did," she said, her voice cracking with frustration. She wanted to comfort him, but a gnawing emptiness held her back. As the days passed, her sense of guilt grew. Ryan's efforts were sincere. He cooked her favorite meals, showed her movies they used to watch, and recounted inside jokes that now fell flat. One evening, as rain tapped against the window, Amanda found herself feeling restless. She glanced at Ryan, who was absorbed in reading an old journal aloud, trying to spark a memory. The words felt distant, like they belonged to someone else entirely. "I need some air," she said abruptly, grabbing her coat. Outside, she took a deep breath, letting the cool rain cleanse her mind. She had no plan, no destination, only the desire to escape the overwhelming burden of expectations. As she wandered aimlessly, a thought gnawed at her. What if I'm not meant to remember? When she returned, Ryan was waiting, concern etched across his face. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice tender but tinged with worry. "I'm trying," she replied, the honesty in her tone cutting through the silence. "But I don't know if I'm trying to remember us because I want to, or because I feel like I have to." Ryan's expression faltered, his eyes filled with a mix of pain and confusion. "I just want you to be happy, Amanda," he said softly. But beneath his words, she sensed a longing for the woman she no longer felt connected to. That night, as Amanda lay awake in bed, her mind drifted not to the past she had lost, but to a different kind of uncertainty, the question of who she truly wanted to become now. A week after her last confrontation with Ryan, Amanda found herself yearning for some normalcy. The sense of being lost hadn't faded, but the need to feel grounded, even briefly, drove her to visit a small cafe near her old workplace. The moment she stepped inside, she felt a strange pull of familiarity, its cozy ambience, the soft hum of jazz in the background. As she was scanning the room, a voice broke through her thoughts. "Amanda? Is that really you?" She turned to see a man with warm brown eyes and a genuine smile approaching her. "Lucas," he added, seeing her confusion. "We used to work together, before everything happened." Amanda's initial reaction was cautious, but Lucas's presence felt unexpectedly comforting. He wasn't part of the past she was pressured to remember, but a piece of a life she hadn't known she was missing. "It's been a while," she replied, her voice hesitant but not closed off. Lucas grinned. "Do you mind if I join you? I could use a break from reality too," he said, his tone playful but lighthearted. They sat at a corner table, and as Lucas ordered his usual, a cappuccino with extra foam, Amanda felt a sense of ease that had been missing for weeks. Lucas didn't bombard her with questions about her memory loss. Instead, he launched into funny stories from the office, an awkward team-building exercise, a prank war they once had with another department, and a disastrous potluck where everything had gone wrong. Amanda found herself laughing genuinely, a sound that surprised her as much as it did Lucas. "I'd forgotten how funny you were," she said, feeling a warmth that wasn't tied to lost memories, but to the present moment. Lucas's eyes softened, his expression shifting to one of quiet empathy. "You know, it's okay not to remember everything," he said thoughtfully. "Sometimes starting fresh is better than trying to rebuild what's broken." His words struck a chord with Amanda. They didn't feel like pressure, but rather an acceptance of who she was now, an acceptance she hadn't found even in herself. "Thank you, Lucas," she said sincerely. As they stood up to leave, Lucas hesitated. "If you ever want to just talk, I'm here." "No expectations," he offered, his smile genuine but tinged with a vulnerability she hadn't seen before. Amanda nodded. "I'd like that," she replied, feeling a flutter of something new, something that wasn't rooted in the past but growing in the here and now. In the following days, Amanda and Lucas's meetups became more frequent. The connection between them felt natural, like a light breaking through the fog that had clouded Amanda's mind since the accident. Lucas's presence didn't feel like a reminder of what she had lost but a promise of something new. One sunny afternoon, Lucas suggested a trip to a nearby botanical garden. "It's one of my favorite places," he said with a smile. "No pressure, just flowers and fresh air." As they strolled along the paths lined with blooming flowers, Amanda felt a sense of calm. The vibrant colors and fragrant air created a serene backdrop for their conversations, which flowed effortlessly. They talked about everything from old dreams to random stories from their childhoods. Lucas shared a story about trying to adopt a stray dog in college, which ended with him being chased by a very angry landlord. Amanda burst into laughter, and Lucas grinned at her reaction. "I missed that laugh," he said quietly, his eyes warm. The sincerity in his tone made Amanda's heart skip a beat. It wasn't just the words, it was the way Lucas looked at her, as if he saw not only who she was now but who she could be. As they sat on a bench overlooking a small pond, Lucas's mood shifted. "I've been wanting to tell you something," he admitted, his voice softer. "I always liked you, even before everything. But I never acted on it because you were with Ryan, and I respected that." Amanda felt a rush of emotions, a mix of surprise, uncertainty, and a twinge of guilt. But she also felt an undeniable attraction, a warmth that felt different from the pressure of remembering Ryan. "I don't know who I'm supposed to be," Amanda confessed, her voice trembling. "But when I'm with you, I feel like I can just be." Lucas reached out and gently took her hand. "Then let's just be," he said, his touch sending a spark through her skin. For the first time since the accident, Amanda leaned into her feelings instead of resisting them. As Lucas's hand remained in hers, she realized that this connection was not about rebuilding the past but embracing the present, with all its uncertainties and potential. That evening, a sense of restlessness gnawed at Amanda. After her afternoon with Lucas, emotions she tried to suppress had risen to the surface, leaving her more aware of the past she couldn't remember, and the present she couldn't fully embrace. In an impulsive moment, she picked up her old phone, which had been lying untouched in a drawer. As she unlocked the device, Amanda hesitated. Part of her didn't want to confront more of her past, but curiosity and a lingering need for closure compelled her to dig deeper. Scrolling through photos and messages, she felt distant flashes of emotions, some happy, others heavy. Then a video file caught her eye. It was marked with a date just hours before the accident. With her heart pounding, Amanda pressed play. Her own face appeared on the screen, tears staining her cheeks. "Ryan," she began in a choked voice, "I don't think I can do this anymore. I feel trapped, like I'm losing myself. I love you, but this isn't working. I need to end this." Amanda's stomach dropped as she watched herself speak with raw honesty. The woman in the video was decisive, hurt, and desperate for freedom, feelings that had been hidden from her since the accident. How could Ryan have kept this from her? Tears streamed down Amanda's face as she confronted the realization. Ryan had chosen to rewrite their history rather than let her confront the truth. The sense of betrayal hit hard, a wound that reopened old scars she didn't know she had. With the phone still in her hand, Amanda stormed into the living room where Ryan Saturday. "I found the video," she said, her voice shaking with emotion. Ryan's face drained of color. Amanda. I can explain. No, she interrupted, anger simmering beneath her grief. You let me believe we were happy when I clearly wasn't. You kept me in the dark about my own life. Ryan's eyes filled with regret. I didn't want to lose you. When I found that video, I thought, maybe we could start over, find what we lost. Amanda's anger mixed with pity, a confusing cocktail of emotions that left her feeling hollow. You lied to me, she said quietly. You tried to control how I'd feel instead of letting me decide for myself. I know, Ryan admitted, his voice breaking. I was afraid that if you remembered how unhappy you were, you'd never give us another chance. I just wanted to fix things, Amanda. Her heart ached, but it was clear that the damage had been done. You can't fix things by hiding the truth, she said, tears blurring her vision. You didn't give me a chance to choose. Amanda turned and left the apartment, feeling both liberated and shattered. As she stepped outside, she dialed Lucas's number. When he answered, his voice was steady and warm. Are you okay? He asked gently. No, Amanda replied honestly. But I need someone who won't lie to me, and I'm hoping that's you. Lucas's response was immediate. It always will be. She found comfort in Lucas's embrace that night, allowing herself to cry freely. He didn't try to solve her pain. He simply held her, giving her the space to feel, to grieve, and, perhaps most importantly, to heal. In the weeks that followed the confrontation with Ryan, Amanda leaned further into her connection with Lucas. Their relationship was blossoming naturally, marked by laughter and a sense of genuine companionship. One night, Lucas invited Amanda over for dinner. Despite his playful warnings about his cooking skills, the meal was simple but filled with warmth, homemade pasta, candlelight, and music playing softly in the background. It's not fancy, Lucas said, setting the food on the table, but I made it with love. Amanda felt a surge of affection. It wasn't about the meal, it was the sincerity in Lucas's eyes and the comfort of his presence. It's perfect, she said genuinely, feeling a sense of peace she hadn't experienced in a long time. As they sat together, their conversation grew more personal. Lucas shared stories about past relationships, each marked by mistakes and lessons learned. I've never been good at love, he admitted. But I'm willing to try, with you? Tears filled Amanda's eyes, not from sadness but from the unexpected joy of feeling seen and accepted. I want to try too, she whispered, her voice steady despite her emotions. They shared a tender kiss, not as a declaration of certainty, but as an embrace of possibility. In that moment, Amanda knew that whatever the future held, this love was worth exploring, imperfect but real. One morning, Amanda stood outside Ryan's apartment, feeling the weight of finality. When Ryan opened the door, the sadness in his eyes mirrored her own. Can we talk? She asked softly. Sitting down, Amanda took a deep breath. I've been thinking about us, she began. And I've realized that we can't rebuild what's broken by pretending it wasn't. Ryan's voice cracked. I wanted to believe we could start over. Amanda reached out, her voice gentle but firm. You loved me and I loved you. But it's not enough anymore. I need to move forward. Tears welled up in Ryan's eyes, and Amanda felt a pang of sadness. I want you to be happy, Amanda, he said, his voice breaking. Thank you, she whispered, standing to leave. As she stepped outside, a sense of closure washed over her. Later, she met Lucas at the cafe, feeling lighter. I closed that chapter, she said. And I choose to start a new one, with you. Lucas's embrace was full of joy and reassurance. For Amanda, it was a choice born not of desperation but of clarity. The next few weeks felt like the dawn of a new chapter for Amanda. The shadows of her past no longer loomed as heavily, and the path ahead seemed clear, not defined by lost memories but by the choices she was making in the present. One chilly morning, Amanda and Lucas decided to explore a local autumn festival. The streets were filled with laughter, the air scented with cinnamon and roasted chestnuts. Children ran around excitedly, and the energy of the place was contagious. As they walked hand in hand, Lucas nudged Amanda gently. How does it feel starting fresh like this? He asked with a warm smile. Amanda thought for a moment before answering. It's liberating, she admitted. For the first time, I'm not trying to remember who I was, I'm just enjoying who I am now. Lucas's gaze was filled with admiration. I love seeing you like this, he said. Happy, free, and more yourself than ever. As they reached a booth selling handcrafted jewelry, Lucas paused, his expression suddenly serious. Close your eyes, he said, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Amanda raised an eyebrow but complied. When she opened them, Lucas held out a small, silver pendant shaped like a bird in flight. It's not a grand gesture, he said, but it represents something new: freedom, growth, and the beauty of letting go. Amanda's eyes welled up with tears. The gift was simple yet deeply meaningful. "It's perfect," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, Lucas." Lucas pulled her into a gentle hug, his arms warm and reassuring. "I'm just grateful to be part of your new beginning," he said softly. As the day went on, Amanda felt a sense of peace she hadn't known in a long time. She realized that while her past had shaped her, it no longer defined her. The woman she was becoming wasn't tied to who she had been or who she had lost. She was someone choosing to live fully with love, honesty, and hope. As she and Lucas walked down the winding streets, laughing and talking about everything and nothing, Amanda felt the weight of uncertainty finally lift. She knew that there would be challenges ahead, but for the first time she was truly ready to face them, with Lucas by her side. The past was behind her, and the future was hers to create.